Good morning, everyone. Okay, I welcome you all to another new day. Okay, we're going to start with our new book this morning, Toyota Way to Service Excellence. It said Lean Transformation in Service Organization by Jeffrey K. Leica and Kian Ross. The Toyota Way to Service Excellence, Lean Transformation in Service Organization. Okay, so today we'll start from the prologue, where we'll read much about what the book is going to be talking about and what it will be teaching us. It said the Toyota Way as a general management philosophy. And I'm going to read a quote from Kichiro Toyoda, founder of Toyota Motor Company. It said, the thieves may be able to follow the design plans and produce a loom, but we are modifying and improving our looms every day. The thieves may be able to follow the design plans and produce a loom, but we are modifying and improving our looms every day. The problems, misunderstanding of lean and how it applies here. So lean, along with its variations such as a Six Sigma theory of constraints, Lean Six Sigmas and specialties in different industries like agile IT development, lean construction, lean healthcare, lean finances, and lean government has become a global movement. As with any management movement, there are true believers, resistors, and those who get on the bandwagon but do not care a lot one way or the other. There are a plethora of service providers through universities, consulting firms, and not-for-profit organizations. And there is a book industry. For zealots like me, Jeffrey, this is, in a sense, a good thing. They are consumers of messages. They are consumers of my message. But there is also a downside. As the message spread and goes through many people, companies, and culture, it changes from the original, like the game of the telephone, in which the message whispered to the first person bears little resemblance to the message the 20th person hears. In the meantime, well-meaning organizations that want to solve their problems are searching for answers. What is lean? How do we get started? How do these tools develop within Toyota for making cars apply to my organization, which has a completely different product or service? How do they apply in our culture, which is very different from Japanese culture? Do the tools have to be used exactly as they are used in Toyota, or can they be adapted to our circumstances? How does Toyota reward people for using these tools to improve? These are all seemingly reasonable questions, and unfortunately, there are many consultants and self-appointed lean experts ready to answer them, often in very different ways. But the starting point should be the questions themselves. Are these the right questions? Though they may seem reasonable on the surface, I believe they are the wrong questions. The underlying assumption in each case is that lean is a mechanistic, tool-based process to be implemented in an organization in much the same way you would install a new piece of software on your computer. Specifically, the assumptions can be summarized as: 1. There is a clear and simple approach to lean that is very different from alternative methodologies. 2. There is one clear and best way to get started. 3. Toyota is a simple organization that does one thing: assembles cars, and it uses a core set of the same tools in the same way every place. 4. The tools are the essence and therefore must be to specific types of processes. 5. Because lean was developed in Japan, there may be something peculiar about it that needs to be modified to fit cultures outside Japan. 6. Toyota itself has a precise method of applying the tools in the same way in every place that others need to copy. 7. The formal reward system is the reason people in Toyota engage in continuous improvement and allocate efforts to support the company. In fact, none of these assumptions are true, and that is the problem. The gap between common views and leans and the reality of how this powerful thing Toyota has been pushing actually works is preventing organizations from accomplishing their goals. The Toyota way, by contrast, is a generic philosophy that can apply to any organization. And if applied diligently, it will virtually guarantee dramatic improvement. It is a way of thinking, a philosophy, and a system of interconnected process and people who are striving to continuously improve how they work and deliver value to each customer. At the heart is a passion to pursue perfection by striving step by step towards clearly defined goals. The twin pillars of the Toyota way are continuous improvement and respect for people. As you read this book, our goal is to give you a clear understanding of lean, or whatever you want to call it. Co-author Kyan and I start by dismissing the common and simplistic notion that it is a program of using tools to take waste out of process. If your organization views it this way, you are doomed to mediocre results. Until the next management fad takes over to create mediocre results, we will demonstrate the real meaning of what Toyota discovered through discussions of the origin of Toyota way, the principle we have distilled, and the actual examples of organizations that are pushing service excellence. The starting point will be the principle I described in the Toyota way, published in 2004. These principles were developed as a way of organizing decades of observation of Toyota and direct experience with many other organizations that had struggled on their lean journey. Most of the examples in the original book came from the Toyota and mostly from manufacturing, though there were some product development and service examples. The book continues to be widely read, over 900,000 copies sold across many manufacturing and service sectors. People have been able to abstract the message beyond manufacturing, but I repeatedly get questions like, how do these principles apply to my organization in my culture? We are in a service which is not like manufacturing. While it is impossible to describe every situation you may face, we decide to write this book to bring lean closer to the world of service. We are focusing on service. Although, as you will see in chapter 1, the distinction between manufacturing and service is messier than it seems at first glance. Some of the best examples we have seen of lean in services were kicked off by visits to exceptional lean factories. One of the best in healthcare is the Tether Care in the Appleton, Wisconsin. John Townsend's CEO at that time had an epiphany after he visited a manufacturer of snowballers whose president was totally committed to lean. During the visit, Townsend saw engaged people and true flow of value through the factory. Certainly, this factory was at least as complex as his healthcare system. He could easily imagine healthcare system where patients did not queue up and wait, but were flowing through the healthcare experience without interruption. He also learned that he needed to lead transformation personally. As his organization leaned and evolved, patient waiting time was dramatically reduced. Before the transformation, patients would have to make several visits to get required tests, test results, and a diagnosis, and then perhaps they would have to return in additional time for treatment. The vision became to move from testing to treatment during the very first visit. If this was not possible, at least the patient should leave with plans of treatment on the first visit. Bringing these visions to reality led to many changes in thinking and in processes, including how and where blood samples were analyzed. In the past, the lab work was centralized and could take days. Now, most tests are completed in one site clinic in minutes. In fact, after years of improvement, about 90% of the lab tests or imaging studies needed in primary care can be completed on site, and 95% of the patients leave with a plan of the care in a single visit. There can be many barriers to learning, however. One may simply be getting the horse to water. Karen has sometimes had to beg and plead to convince managers in the service organization she had worked with to visit any manufacturing plant. She recalls one instance after she succeeded in bringing a group of executives from an insurance company to Toyota. How delighted she was when one leader exclaimed, "The next time people say to us that we don't make widgets, we are going to send them to Toyota. When they see how complex making a car is, they will run right back to work as quickly as possible." Thankfully, that all they have to do is make some decisions, enter some information into the computer, and an outcome and insurance policy. Having dismissed the common and simplest notion that Lean is a program centered on tools for taking waste out of manufacturing process, in this prologue, we wish to convey the deeper meaning of the Toyota way. We will briefly describe the origin of the Toyota way within Toyota, how the concept of lean thinking fits with the Toyota way, and what it looks like to pursue it in practice. Okay, so this is where we end for our reading this morning, telling us about the Toyota way as a general management philosophy. So it is actually telling us this thing so that we do not misunderstand the lean process and how it applies to the book, how it applies to Toyota, and how it is also going to apply to us. It described it as a tool, as a method, and as a philosophy or ways of doing things in the service industry. So this lean tool in Toyota can actually, even if it's a Japanese cultural something, it can also be applied in different circumstances in an organization. Okay, so that's just a brief summary of where we read this morning. So as we go further in chapter 1, I believe it is going to further explain what service excellence is, how we can use it when it comes, how we can use this lean philosophy when it comes to service excellence in our organization. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.